Hello, if you've been here before, welcome back. If not, hi, my name is David. I make videos talking about media that I want to talk about. This is another first for me. I'm going to do a little, not little, I'm going to do a TBR for April because I am to the point where I have a lot of books that I'm juggling and I want to keep track of them and keep accountable of these books and just talk about them more, I guess. Yeah. I also have a handful of books that I have to do a book haul as well, because my plan is once I get to a good point is to start randomly picking books on my TBR because I've been able to unhaul them. I've talked about them already. I've established them in the world, and so I can randomly pick them when I do my TBR and list and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going to do more of TBRs, but I might as well talk about the books I'm going to read in this month as well, just to have that established in my plans, etc. So I'm going to start with like low priority books for this month that I'm reading. I have already started reading The Love Interest by Cale Dietrich, which is a book I'm rereading it from about like high school. It is about two boys who are competing for the affection of the woman, the love interest, and they are both spies for this organization. They're trying to compete against each other. They're both part of the same company, same organization, and whoever wins her affection gets to spy on her for the spy on her for the organization, and the other one dies. I've read this before. I'm cleaning through my shelves when I put my books away from last month. This book, I pulled it out so I can read through it again and see, do I want to keep it or not? Right now, I do not. I'm barely started it, but I'm like, I don't want to keep this book. So I may or may not finish this book today. I'm not fully sure. We'll see. Also, low priority, similar to Love Interest, is Seven Ways We Lie by Riley Redgate. Also going to be rereading this from high school to see if I want to keep it or not. I do not remember what this is about. 7 students, 7 deadly sins, 1 secret. Right. Yeah, that's a YA book that I probably don't want to read anymore, but I just got to reread it, see if I want to keep it or not, give it away or something like that. I'm not sure. Low priority. Those two are low priority. The next book is also somewhat low priority in terms of I'm not going to be reading them when I usually read, which is at work. But this book I can also read pretty quickly. But I do want to continue reading this series, which is Among the Brave by Margaret Pearson Haddix, the 5th book in the Shadow Children series. This is following Trey, a friend of Luke. He's trying to save Luke from being arrested or something like that. I'm not sure. It's one of the more has more pages than the other books, and so also rereading this series. I've been talking about this series for some time. Low priority, and that it's not. I'm gonna be read it sometime in the middle of the week, but it's pretty quick anyways. And yeah. Now the true TBR, the actual books that I have to read this month, are as follows: External Forces by Shannon Fay, which is the 2nd book of the Marrowbone series. There's only 2 books so far published, but this is the 2nd book of Innate Magic, which was one of my favorite books from last year, and so I want to read the sequel, so I will be reading that at some point soon. I also will be reading The Night Ends with Fire by KX Song, which is a book. I don't know anything about it. I have not even read the back of it. It is for a book club that I'm a part of here locally, and so I'm going to be reading this for a book club. I have no idea what it is about. Cover's pretty, though. Next is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang, which is the 2nd book in the Poppy War series. I am reading this also for a book club for a read along with Steph over at Coffee Over Apples. This is the 2nd book that I'll be reading this month, hopefully before the live show happens, which is really exciting. I have no idea what this one is about. She and I both have this question. It's like, okay, if Poppy Ward, the 1st book, was about historical retelling in a way, what is this also going to be a historical retelling, or what is it going to be? But at the end of the first Poppy War book, but a lot of really crazy things happen. So we'll see what happens here. Next will be Ink Death by Cornelia Funk. I'm saying next as if it's chronologically. I'm not doing these chronologically. I'll talk about that when I finish. Ink Death, Cornelia Funk, third book in the Ink World series. I read Ink Spell this past month. I'll be finishing this series finally. And then I had planned to continue rereading books from the library, but because I have so many books physically, I have to free up a slot in my month. So we're gonna stop the rereads for now and just finish Ink World with Ink Death. And I know that Ink Spell didn't end, or at least Ink Spell as a book was somewhat successful, but not in a way that made me super excited for Ink Death. So we'll see how I feel about it when I read it. And it's also a library book, so I have to return it at some point. Next is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales, Book 3 of the Emily Wilde series, a novel by Heather Fawcett, just reading off the cover here. Third book of the Emily Wilde series, really great fantasy series. If this book succeeds in being really good, then this will be a really one of the best fantasy series I've read this year, and also in most of the years. If this one holds up, and this one follows Emily and Wendell after the events of the second book. Wendell is finally able to go back to his fairy realm, fairy kingdom, and become the ruler there. And I'm not sure what it's going to be about, but I'm excited for what it is. Along the same lines as, so I had before read Percy Jackson and the Olympians, books 1 through 5, at the same time that I was rereading The Hunger Games, and then The Infernal Devices. That got messy with it after that was during the time where I got a bunch of books that I'm rereading in at the same time, and then I was rereading The King Chronicles, which I just finished this past month. So I'm going to be rereading The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, book 1 of the Heroes of Olympus series. I bought it secondhand, and I made sure to get the ISBN, the code number for the original printing, because I wanted the original cover design. And then this arrived without a jacket, which is great. I might have to just exchange it or buy it new or something like that. I don't know. Rereading the series, starting to reread the series, 5 books. I only have to buy the first 3 books because I have the last 2 books right over here. And there it goes. Right over here. You can see them. There you go. The next book might be a unwise decision to do, but I already committed to it by buying the book. It's going to be in Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, the second book in the Expanse series. I'm starting this series because I've heard a lot of good things from the sci-fi book series, and I'm really excited to start this. I heard it said that the Expanse series sort of goes in duos. Like the first and second book are like a quote-unquote duology, the third and fourth, and 5, 6, and 7 I think is a trilogy, or 5 and 6, I'm not sure. But if so, then that helps me space it out if I want to. If I really like this series and I do want to continue, maybe I can. I was planning to do. I'm starting this book in April because there's 9 books in total, in the hopes of finishing the series by the end of the year. I don't know if I want to do that or not, depending on how I like the book or not. We'll see. But if it is in duos, then that would be really interesting way to help space it out. I wouldn't be able to finish the series in the year then, but at least get some headway through it. You know what I mean? 2 books that I don't have physically with me is Molka by Monica Kim, which is the book of the month pick that I already chose for this month. Horror book, I don't know anything about it, but that's exciting. I need to read more horror. There's a lot of horror that I need to reread, or not even reread, just read in general. And then I'm just going to take out the second book. The third book of the Remembrance of Earth Past. I need to read that book, Death's End. Here's a picture of it. I'm buying that on Saturday, so that I can finish this series as well. So Death's End, Remembrance of Earth's Past, number 3, I have to read before I read Leviathan Wakes, the Expanse series, so that I don't overlap series. No one's forced me to do that. There's no rule against that. That's what I'm telling myself to do. So when I have Death's End, I will have that physically, and we'll be able to talk about it and read it. So yeah, that's 9 priority books to read, plus 3 other books that are not priority. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Oh, and also, when I eventually get to the point where I have less series to continue and more just books to finish or start, I will be pulling randomly from my physical TBR. For now, while I have these series to read, I'm going to be doing a random number in terms of what's the next book to read. And so tomorrow, I know that I'm going to be starting External Forces because this is a, what's it called? This was a book I was supposed to read last month, but I didn't. So this will be the first book in the month that I finish if I don't finish the love interest. And then I pulled randomly for the next book to read, and that, if it comes in hopefully in time, will be Volca, book of the month. If not, I'll just pull randomly from the physical stack that I have. And then that also gets fucky with it when I have to read Death's End before The Expanse. So we'll see how that goes. Now for the book haul. I've separated the book haul into sort of like 4 different sections. So the first section, shortest section, is continuations of series. I got The Fate of Magic by Sarah Rash and Beth Revis, which is the second book in the Witch and Hunter series that I started a while ago. I got the second book because I liked it enough, but I didn't want to immediately start the second book, so I didn't have to like take up some time. So this is, at least I have it physically, and it'll be there in the rotation. Next is The Secret Keeper of Jaipur by Alka Joshi, which is the second book in the Jaipur trilogy. I read the first book, The Henna Artist, earlier this month, which I absolutely adored, and so I got the second book, also going to be in rotation as well. Once I finish this book, I'll get the third book, and that will also be in rotation. Alka Joshi is surprisingly, I've only read these 2 books, and I've only read The Henna Artist, and then you can probably see it here, 6 Days in Bombay. Alka Joshi is really good, and so I might just have to, she might become a immediate buy as well. Next is The Monster Baru Cormorant by Seth Dickinson, book 2 of, I have all of my unfinished series here. The Trader Baru Cormorant. Absolutely amazing fantasy series that I want to continue. These books I'll be reading concurrently The Poppy War. So this is book 2 of The Poppy War. This is book 2 of the Trader Baru Cormorant, because both are a trilogy, both are fantasy, and both deal with somewhat similar political machinations. Characters are somewhat similar. And so I'll be reading these every other month. So I'm going to read Dragon Republic this month and Monster next month. And then I feel like I've talked about it already in a book haul, but if not, because I knew it came in as a oneer, so it might have gotten mixed in, but I'm just going to talk about it again just in case. The Immortal City by V.F. Aubrey, which is the second book in the I've always forgotten the name of the series. Book 1, August of the People. The Eternity's Sunrise Saga. Yes. I got book 2, which just came out this February. Will also be in rotation as well, because I like this. I like the series enough. Sci-fi, post-apocalypse. But there are a handful of others that I just have to get to sooner. Anyways, the next group are books that I got from the library, like secondhand, just random books, and these I've never seen before. We got Shattering the Lay by Joshua Palmatier, which is some sort of sci-fi political epic. It's a trilogy. It's fantasy? It looks sci-fi. It says it's a fantasy novel. Oh, I've never seen this before. It looked interesting, though. It's also pretty big, so that'll be in rotation. All Those Vanishing Engines by Paul Park. I got this book because at the very back it said that it is for fans of David Mitchell and who else was it? Yeah, David Mitchell and Walter A. Miller, A Canticle for Leibowitz. I'm not familiar with that, but David Mitchell, Cloud Atlas, very familiar with that book. So it's about, I don't know what Shattering Delay is about. It just looked interesting. And then this book is, oh, Alternate Universe. It's alternate past. It's alternate history book. And then we have The Hollywood Spiral by Paul Newland, which is a sci-fi book noir about a guy who's trying to stop this corporation doing some bad stuff in crime gangs in Los Angeles. And a cult? Oh, it's a cult thing. Okay. Well, sounds interesting. I really like the cover, also sci-fi. And then I have A Darkling Sea by James L. Cambias, which is about people trying to colonize a planet and it going very badly. I believe is a sci-fi horror or just a hard sci-fi. I'm not fully sure. And The Godless by Ben Peake, which is book one. It's a trilogy fantasy about, I believe, someone gets isekai'd into this fantasy realm. Oh no, that's a different one. No, I remember seeing a book about someone getting isekai'd, but I didn't pick it up. This one is in the Children trilogy, fast-paced epic fantasy set in an enthralling new world, perfect for fans of Joe Abercrombie and Brent Weeks. Not familiar with Brent Weeks. Joe Abercrombie, I've read The Devils. And so I was like, that sounds good. I got these 5 books because in this little bookstore in my library, it's 10 cents a book. So I was like, 50 cents, let me find 5 books to get. And so those are going to be in rotation. When I start reading any of them, I'm trying to restrain myself, because I really want to remove the library casings. When I start reading them, I will remove them. So sort of like opening a present. But I'm sustaining myself from doing that now. The next section of books are books that I got secondhand, either by buying it from a really cheap secondhand bookstore or getting them from little libraries, trading libraries, through riding my bike. I have a video about that as well. I did this separately than like the library books, because these are books that I've just never heard about that looked interesting, so I just wanted to talk about them separately. We have first A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini, which I have read prior, Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, and I need to reread this book. I don't know much about it. I don't remember much about it. I mean, and then A Thousand Splendid Suns, I've heard a lot of good things about it as well, but might as well just have it as well. Just read it. Be like, yeah, I know this is a really famous book, so might as well talk about it. Then I got 11 by Patricia Riley Giff, which it seems nondescript, I guess, but this was one of the books from Battle of the Books when I was in elementary school, and I've read a handful of them already, reread them. Those including, oh no, I gave them away. I gave them to my sister. That's it. That's why I don't have any. Someone Named Eva and The Seer of Shadows by Avi. Both of those were books, Battle of the Books, Sunshine State books. This was one of them, and when I saw that, I was surprised, and I was like, yeah, might as well just reread this, because I remember this absolutely being terrifying, some sort of thriller, and so I was like, sure. And then I got Sleep Tight by J.H. Marquardt, which is a Book of the Month edition from September of 2024. I just know that Book of the Month editions are pretty good, and so I got it. I was like, it's a horror. It looks like it's a horror set in this like gothic house. So I'm just going to keep this and read it at some point. Also, Book of the Months look really good on my shelf. The next 3 books were books that I traded in little libraries. I don't remember which one was which, but I'll just name the I gave away Ramina by Junji Ito, a horror manga, which was good, but I do not want to have horror mangas, comic books, graphic novels on my shelves. They're not for me, so I just gave it away. I also gave away A Skeptic's Guide to Understanding the Universe, which I had to buy for a college class, and I'm like, I'm never going to reread this ever. I'm never going to touch this again. Don't need that. And then I also gave away A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I hated that book. It's probably one of my least favorite books this year so far. We'll be talking about it at the end of the year. But I did not like it, so I gave it away. I don't remember the pairings, but it's whatever. The first book is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. This book I'd seen it before. It's about like a scandal out of college, a sex scandal. But I recognize Alex Michaelides in terms he wrote The Silent Patient, which I also didn't really care about, but he also wrote a different book. It's not The Fall. I forget what it's called, but I'll have the picture of it. It's like the one with the circle. I've heard a lot of good things about that one. I want to read that. And I saw Alex Michaelides. I saw the author, and I was like, yeah, I've heard good things from him, so might as well read it. Don't know what to expect from that. And then I got Beartown by Frederick Buckman, which I am hesitant about because I read, it's all the way up there, I'm not going to get it, but I read My Friends, which was a recent release from Frederick Buckman, and I thought that it was fine. I've heard a lot about this series in terms of this is a devastating series. It's a trilogy. Don't know if I will ever get to it or not. It is translated as well. But also I've seen that this series is a departure for Frederick Bachman. And if I didn't like a author, a departure of that author might be good. For example, like Ava Reed, Lady Macbeth should be here. Oh, it's all the way up over there. Yeah, Lady Macbeth, loved Lady Macbeth, hated Study in Drowning. And Study in Drowning is what I've heard is more aligned with the author, but Lady Macbeth is a different for her. And so I was like, let me just try it. It was free. I traded it in for someone else. And so there's that. And then I got Velvet Was the Night by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is also a book I got because I recognize the author. She wrote Mexican Gothic, which is a horror book that I want to read as well. And I saw this and I was like, yeah, this, I know the author, might as well get it to get a look at how she writes. And I have also no idea how this is going to be. At least I have it. The next set of books are just new books that I got for a specific reason or time or something like that. And sort of miscellaneous, but there are just new books that I got. So we have Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, which is a book that became the movie Hamnet, which was one of the best movies I've seen this year so far. So I bought the book. The next book I got was Lost City of Zed by David Gran, A Tale of Deadly Obsession in the Amazon, which is a nonfiction book about the Fawcett expedition in 1925 into the Amazon jungle, trying to find the lost city of Zed. And I wanted to read this because it is the focus of an episode in the Magnus Archives, and I wanted to read more about it. Then I got The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. Shout out to Isabel Reeds because this is an Aardvark exclusive book that she became a partner with, I believe. And if you signed up, you signed up with her code, you got the first book for $4. And so I got this book for $4. So thank you so much, Isabel, for sharing that information. Because I've heard a lot of good things about this. It's gay, I know that. And it's horror, I know that too. So looking forward to this book. That'll be in rotation. The next book I got is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey, which is a book of the month edition of March 2025, I believe. It is the winner of the Lolly, and part of the perk I have right now for book of the month is that I got the Lolly for free. And I got this at the same time that I got The Story Might Save Your Life from this year. And so this will be in rotation. I didn't want to read it in the month because it's no longer aligned with the months, but I got it for free. Might as well read it. It looks interesting. This is the book I should have gotten instead of the other offer, which I did get, which was Our Infinite Fates. Laura Stevens hated that book, so this is the better decision. So I have it, so I can put it in, slot it in, because right now, as you'll see, we're going to turn over here. I have February book of the month, pointed to here. And then March is empty because that was Our Infinite Fates. And then April, Alka Joshi. And then all this follows aligned with the months. Eventually I will unhaul some of these. But this will fit perfectly in that. And it'll be golden. Next I got We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer, a horror book about two women who move into their house, and then bad stuff happens when the people who used to live here come back, and bad stuff happens. I've heard a lot of good things about this book, so I bought it. Mostly I bought it because I needed to get the points from Barnes & Noble to get some money off for a pre-order book. So I bought this book. And then I got My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I bought this book. I think I bought this on sale. Yeah, I bought this on sale at my local bookstore. And I was hesitant because, so Stephen Graham Jones, I've read his prior book, The Only Good Indians, and I did not like that. But I heard this one's really good as well. I also want to try Buffalo Hunter Hunter. And so when I saw this was on sale, I was like, might as well get it. I've heard a lot of good things instead. So we shall see. In the same vein as like what I said with like Ava Reed and Frederick Bachman, all The Only Good Indians, that's it, was a little different than what people expected, and so it became really famous. I disagree with how good it was, but a lot of people say that if you didn't like The Only Good Indians, try My Heart is a Chainsaw and Buffalo Hunter Hunter. So do you want to try that? Depending on how this book goes will affect how I feel about getting Buffalo Hunter Hunter. And yeah, that is all of the books that I have to haul, book hauls that I've had recently. I'm trying to organize them into like actual shelves so I can randomly pick books for my TBR when I get to the point where I have space to randomly pick books for my TBR. I'll be finishing a handful of series, so that'll free up a lot of space, hopefully. And yeah, if you recognize a handful of these books, let me know. If you want me to push up some of these books as well, that would be really fun. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to be passionate, and I'll see you later.